Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Built for More podcast. Whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, I hope you've had the most amazing day. And we're also back in a dark room. I'm not filming this in the middle of the day. I like filming on an evening. I feel like I'm more chatty on an evening, and even though I do have the bullet points to help keep me on track with this podcast. When I film and record in the evening, I feel like I put a little bit more va-va-voom and kind of go off tangent a little bit, and I feel like I don't know about you, like you guys listening to this, let me know in the comments if you disagree with this. But me, because I do listen to a lot of podcasts, listen to a lot of audiobooks as well, I like it when the podcasters, yes, obviously talk about a certain topic, but they also go off on their own little tangents as well. I find it quite interesting, or just like little bits or say stories. I like that. Anyway, what has been going on this week in terms of coaching, me, the team, all of that jazz? So with me, not a whole lot really. If you don't know and if you're not following my journey on Instagram, and if you're not following my journey on Instagram, what are you doing? My Instagram handle is in like the description of this podcast and on YouTube as well if you're watching it on YouTube. But it's Siobhan, spelled Siobhan and body balance, all one word. You'll see me come up. If you're not following my journey on there, like just follow me along. I post loads of like helpful reels and carousels and all that fun stuff. And of course, you can keep a little bit more close updated with my story. So if you're not following me, get on that. With me at the moment, I am 11. It might, again, obviously depending on when you're watching this, listening to this, it might be different. But currently, as I'm filming this, I'm 11 weeks. Well, I have 11 weeks left of my improvement phase, bulk, whatever you want to call it, before I start prep, which is a little bit nerve-wracking. But if you've ever done a bulk or improvement phase and you've gone through the process of trying to build muscle, you know that it takes its time. And a lot of the things are very samey. You're ticking the boxes, you're going to train, you're doing your steps, you're doing your cardio. Obviously, it's not as much as when you're like prepping, cutting, whatever, but you're doing you're ticking the boxes. So not a whole great deal has changed. I did put on social media, oh God, I can't remember what day it was. I think it might have been Thursday, that I was just having one of those days where I didn't feel that great in myself. And I know this last part of my improvement phase is going to be like that. Like, I know logically, I know that I'm not a big girl. I know that I'm not unhealthy. However, when you have prepped before, when you've competed before, when you've cut to a level of leanness that competitors do get to, anything that's not that just feels off. And it's a weird thing. It's like something that competitors have to go through, and all athletes really have to go through as well. Like, I know people who, for example, my partner who used to prep for fighting, like used to train for fighting competitions, and obviously he has to strip off a load of weight as well to get within like a certain weight category to fight. He's the same as well. So it's not just bodybuilders. Like, anyone who does an extreme sport will usually have the same kind of thing. And it's just something that I'm going through now, and I'm just like, you know what, like, it's 11 weeks. I'll be even more excited to prep again, and it's only for a short period of time. It's a temporary discomfort, just like what prep is and dieting is in prep. Usually the first part of prep, I love it because like I start to get into it, start feeling more myself, and you have like that positive like beginning part of prep. But then obviously as you get balls deep into prep, then it's very heavy temporary discomfort, and it's the same the other way as well. And it's always about like thinking about your goals. Anyway, this actually leads me really nicely onto the topic today, which is basically about adherence. And it's why can't you stick to your diet, or why can't you stick to your plan, which is a common struggle, something that people will just say to me like, I just know what to do and I can't do it, or like, why can't I do this? Why can't I stick to it? And I thought it'd be a really, really good podcast to go over, especially at this time of the year when a lot of people they might have started a January diet or a goal, like working towards a goal in January, and after a couple of months, your motivation dies down, or that fight of going back and forth and trying it on yourself might have died down. It's like it happens all the time. I've been in this industry a while now. I know it's usually around this time, so I want to help you, and I want to help you increase your adherence. So I'm going to go through some of the common struggles and some of the common things that can some of the common reasons why people struggle sticking to the diet and sticking to the plan as well. Now, if your reason isn't on this list, or if I go through this list and you're like, no, it's none of them, reach out to me. Like, please reach out to me. Follow me on Instagram, leave a comment on this podcast, email me, carrier pigeon, whatever. I want to help you. Like, send me a message, tell me what's going on, and we can have a back and forth in DMs. And again, because at the end of the day, the reason why I've made this podcast, the reason why I'm a coach, is to help people. So please message me, because I'd love to hear from you and I'd love to help you as well. Anyway, let's get into it. So there's, as I was saying before, there's quite a few reasons why people might struggle sticking to the diet and being adherent. And at the end of the day, if you have any goal, whether that's building muscle, losing body fat, building a business, having a successful relationship, raising your child fucking well, yes, it takes effort. Yes, it takes time, but more importantly, it takes that consistency and it takes that adherence at the end of the day as well. And sticking to, and you doing what you said you're going to do and sticking to what you said you was going to do as well. So we're going to go through that first. Now, the first big one that I see quite a lot is about goals and goal setting. First one that might come up, and it usually comes up when I'm speaking to people like for the first time, is unrealistic goals. And if you listen to my Smarter Goals podcast, you might know that I don't necessarily agree on like realistic goals, but what I mean by this with unrealistic goals is setting goals that are way out of your depth right now. Like, that's not to say that it'll never happen. Like, if anyone wanted to compete, it is possible 100%. But if, for example, it's day one in the gym, that probably isn't the best goal to set. It's probably better to reverse engineer that goal and set mini goals along the way and just focus on that, and just focusing on walking before you run. So it's little things like that, is setting a goal that's a little bit too far away that it almost feels like a unachievable mountain that you're trying to climb as well. So setting, like, again, nothing wrong with ambition, fucking love it. I love it when people come at me with ambition, but just going straight in the deep end, like, just setting those smaller goals to lead up to the big goals as well, or goals that are overly restricted, or goals by overly restricted, same with like overly ambitious. Another one that I tend to have as well is like people message me, or I might even get like clients saying this every now and again. It's like, I've got a holiday in 3 weeks time, can I lose, I don't know, 3 stone in 3 weeks? And I'm like, I mean, you can, but you're eating nothing. And I mean, me as a coach, because I am health over everything, I will not do that. But I have had people say, can I lose X amount in a small period of time? And when I've tallied it up, the amount they'd have to lose in a week is just ridiculous. And it's like, yes, it's possible, but I know people, like, I've been doing this for a while now, you won't do it, especially if you've had issues with like relationship with food and stuff like that, to be able to just survive off chicken breast and a bit of veg. One, it's not healthy, and two, like, even professional athletes will struggle with that. So it's about just keeping your head on and being sensible and just, yeah, not setting goals that are a little bit too ahead of the game or ridiculously over restrictive as well for the level that you're at. And what I mean by that when I say the level that you're at is, every now and again I'll talk about this, is that dieting, training, adherence is a skill to learn. So if you're not very skilled at being adherent, if you're not very skilled at dieting, don't take yourself to then just live off chicken and bloody salad for like a month, because let's be honest, you're not going to do that. I would fucking struggle doing that. So yeah, it's setting unrealistic goals in that, because eventually it gets to the point of frustration, like you'll hit the fuck it button, you might not be able to like fit it into your lifestyle, and then you'll just abandon the diet, which is just like, again, you won't be adherent to it, and you'll be in and out, in and out, in and out, wondering why like you can't stick to it. And it's even things like when people set diets that are clearly not set up for lifestyle, and little things and things like, for example, things that I've tried in the past that now I look back and not judge myself on, but kind of go, fucking hell, Siobhan, what were you doing? Is little things like, I remember doing a juice diet, just eating those bloody juices, or drinking those bloody juices all the time. I remember like being on ridiculously low calories, like sub 1,000 calories, try and stick to that. I'd stick to it for like fucking 2 days and then I'd order a Papa John's. Those shake diets, I can't remember what they're called. I think it's called Slim Fast or something, where you have shakes. I can't remember. I know I tried like that Huel for a bit as well, where you have, I think it's like 1 or 2 Huels, and then you eat like a normal meal. I know I tried the bloody, I was going to say KFC, it's not KFC, is it the Kellogg's Special K thing, where you eat two balls, two balls of cereal in a normal meal? Honestly, like I have tried it all, and these are unrealistic because you don't know how to eat, not, it's not teaching you how to eat normally at the end of it, but also how the fuck do you reverse out of that? Like when you've been on bugger all calories, and even if you do get there, which I don't think anyone does, how are you meant to like either keep up with that? So you constantly you're gonna forever have Special K for the rest of your life, all these bloody Hoos or shakes, because I definitely wasn't planning on doing. So again, if you can't plan to keep that up for the rest of your life, what are you doing? Same with like keto and stuff like that. Like if you like carbs, what are you doing on keto? Little things like that. So yeah, all those things are unrealistic. Next thing is a lack of preparation, and this is something that if you're not doing, you are making your diet 10 times harder. And I must seem like a broken record on my social media, and because I say this all the time, like for a solution to most problems, I'm like, meal prep your food, plan your food ahead. Meal prep your food, plan your food ahead. And it is a solution for so many problems. If you're busy, meal prep your food and plan ahead. If you tend to press the fuck it button and order a takeaway, meal prep your food and plan ahead. If you, I'm just trying to think again, want to save money, meal prep your food and plan ahead. Again, if you don't do this, you are setting yourself up for failure. If you go out to eat, or let's say if you're planning to go out to eat, taking your meal prep with you, so again you don't have to think about it, you've got food with you, all these little things. And it's the same with like meal prepping your food and taking it to work, so you're not having to rely on the canteen at work or nipping to Subway or KFC or Mackey's, like, or a Tesco meal deal that are awful calories, and even the ones that are like low calories, it's such low food volume that it just won't fill you up as well. So it's, again, if you meal prep your food yourself and plan your food in, you will, one, make much better choices because you've already got it planned in, and you just follow your MyFitnessPal like a meal plan, like your own um meal plan. But also, like, if you have shit in the fridge or shit in the freezer, and let's say you have a shit day at work, like shit's hit the fan at work, and you come in and it's like the last thing you want to do is make a meal that fits within your goals. You already have food in the freezer, so it becomes less tempting to press the fuck it button, eat all the Oreos in the cupboard, phone Papa John's or whatever takeaway it is that you prefer, because you've already got that food in. You can literally be like, oh, I can't be asked cooking, I'll go and get one of my meals out of the freezer as well. So again, that can massively help too. Even so, like, preparation can come into play when, let's say you know that you and your mates are going out to like Manchester or Liverpool or wherever it is on the weekend, and you're going out to have like something to eat. It's like, right, okay, ask your friends where you're going for food, or maybe even take that onus and be like, can we go to Nando's, guys? And most people like Nando's, and they're like, oh yeah, yeah, I'll go Nando's, or you might go Pizza Express or Weatherspoons, wherever it is that you go. And once you've made that decision, once you've planned that ahead of this is where I'm going, then it's like, right, open up MyFitnessPal, get the Weatherspoons menu or the Nando's menu up on your computer or your phone, and then you can see the calories on the menu. You can track that into your MyFitnessPal ahead of the game. Track your breakfast and your snacks around that. You've sorted your meal out, so you can go out, don't have to worry about it. You're adhering to your goals. Yeah, you're able to socialise as well. So it's all these things that like come into play. If you go out and have a few bevies, plan these drinks in. Obviously, don't be a knob and have 10, because that's like roughly like well over 1,000 calories. But maybe have 4. You have low calorie drinks like spirits and a diet mix. Again, I wouldn't recommend calorie banking all the time because it can make you overly hungry, but it can be useful in certain social situations. Speaking of social situations, another reason that people tend to fall off a diet is because of social situations as well, and more so the lack of knowledge surrounding it. Like how I've just mentioned before, if you're going out, find out where you're going, plan that into MyFitnessPal. you're all sound. If you're going out for drinks, plan your drinks into advance, stick to what you say you're going to do, put it into MyFitnessPal, all sound. If you're at a family buffet, again, like, or a works meal, you can roughly guess. If you have no idea what you're eating, maybe it's a case of saving so many calories, and it might be 8 to 1,000 calories that you're saving there. Again, keeping your head on, minding food portions, working on intuitive eating so you're not pressing the fuck it button there as well, and just having a right, okay, if I can't control this, I can control that. And maybe it's a case of, if you are on a, I don't know, top of my head, 5-course buffet at a works event, do you have to eat everything that's on the plate? No, you don't. So let's say your starter comes out, you have half of your starter. Your main comes out, you might have all of your main. The third bloody plate comes out, again, you might have half of that, or you might have like a taste of it. Again, depends on the portion size of what's coming out. When it gets to dessert, do you have to have all the dessert? No. You might be able to have like a taste of it, or again, half, depends on the portion sizes that are shown. And the same with drinks, just like being wary of the drinks that you have, sticking to spirits and diet mixer, or if you're not drinking, try and drive to these events as well. I'm driving, I'm sticking to my Diet Coke or your Diet Lemonade or whatever you prefer there too. So these are like ways that you can handle social situations as well. Now, sometimes people will come to me and say, I fucked up on my diet because my Aunt Jemima, I don't even know where that bloody name's come, but we're going with it. My Aunt Jemima made me eat the cake. She made me have more drinks. My mates made me have more drinks and have these cocktails and have these shots. No, like, I know I'm going to sound harsh here, but people need to hear this. You made that choice. Your Aunt Jemima and your mates didn't throw you on the ground, force open your mouth and put those drinks and cake into your mouth. That didn't happen. No one held a gun up to the head. Yes, it might have been a little bit awkward when they were talking to you about it, but you made that choice to have that cake, to have that, I don't know, burger and chips or whatever it was, to, I don't know, have all those shots. You made that choice. You made the choice not to align with your goals, and you, as an adult, need to accept responsibility for that. If that happens, which that's happened to me many times over the course of me being a coach, but also over the course of the time when I was a designer and I wasn't a coach and I wasn't even thinking about being a coach back then. When I was on my dieting journey myself, this would happen all the time. I'd be at events entertaining clients. I'd be on, let's say it was like, we always used to call it Fat Fridays, and where we'd get a takeaway, and I'd be there in my meal prep, and I'd have the same thing. Why don't you just, why are you always eating that? Like, why can't you just have a little bit of fun? Why can't you like be flexible? Why can't you X, Y, and Z? Like, oh, like it must be so hard. Go on, just like a little chip. Just have, like, I've honestly heard it all. Why are you on a diet? There's nothing on you. And constant. And I've had obviously like people who won't let up and that would keep on pushing. And my answer would always be the same. No, I'm doing it for X. No, I'm doing it for X. No, I'm sticking to my plan. No, I'm sticking to my plan. No, I'm sticking to my plan. And remember when I was saying before about things being temporary discomfort, that is also temporary discomfort, because it'll get to a point when your Aunt Jemima or your mate's like, oh, go on, go on, go on, go on, go on, where they'll stop. Or if they don't stop, there'll be a point where you leave, like it'll be time to go home, it'll be time for everyone to go home and you leave. So it is, yeah, a little bit awkward, but it is temporary discomfort. So accept that. Remember that you have take ownership. You have responsibility. You are an adult. You are responsible for your own actions. You have, like, if you're the kind of person who will succumb to that peer pressure, you have made that choice. Don't blame it on anyone else. Personally, I think it's a little bit shitty to do so anyway. It is your choice and you have made that choice. So again, hold yourself to a higher standard. Pardon me. Stick to your goals and yeah, just be better. Just be better. And again, I know it's harsh, but I'm saying that out of love, because a lot of people think that is a lot harder than what it is. And yes, it's uncomfortable at first, but you get so used to it. And now I know when there was on my last, I say prep, like my last diet for my photo shoot, there was a situation where I was out with John's dad, and like a fair few people of his family that I hadn't met before. And my meal that I'd tracked in, because I already knew where I was going, I already pre-planned it into MyFitnessPal, just like I've told you guys to do. I literally had half of this kind of like kebab thing. It was an Indian thing, and it was literally about 4 blocks of chicken. Like, that's what I had for my main meal. Everyone was having like the starters, the poppadoms, and all that fun stuff. They all had desserts, and I had 4 blocks of chicken. That's all, because that's how low my calories got. And again, it was very kind of like pressure where I got asked quite a lot of questions, and it was a little bit awkward. But again, it's one of those things like it's temporary discomfort. Crack on. Let your goals be stronger than other people's peer pressure, basically. Which like will lead me on to another thing as well, is that make sure the reason why you're doing this is a strong fucking reason. Because a lot of the time, let's say I speak to someone and I'm like, okay, what is your goal? To lose weight? Okay, why? Because I want to feel better about myself. That is a wishy-washy goal. That is a wishy-washy why. In the first day that you have a shit day at work or in life, you'll press the fucking button, you won't sit to it. And I know this because I've been there and I've had wishy-washy whys. For me, like having a strong why, having something to keep you focused is a massive, massive game changer. And again, the best way to do this is to go and listen to my podcast, Smarter Goals. Maybe save it, put it as your like next to play if you're listening to on Spotify. Go onto YouTube and find it and just like mark it down to like watch for later. Watch that one about how to come up with a strong goal. But the best way of doing this is thinking of, I mentioned this on my social media. I actually put it on a carousel. So if you're watching this when this podcast has come out, it was on Thursday. Just go back a little bit and you'll find it on there as like a mindset tool that I use my guys when they're going through that hump, which we all go through on a fitness journey. And it's essentially thinking of future you who has achieved her goals and the best version of you. Thinking of the best version of you. Who is she? Who is he? What does he or she look like? What does she do? What does the daily routine look like? And how does she act? Like, does she train? How does her like body look? How's her health? And again, aligning yourself to that version of yourself, because I guarantee the best version of yourself probably looks after her health, probably looks after her nutrition, probably goes to the gym and trains fucking hard. The best version of you is probably doing all of those things. They're probably not, I don't know, having like a shitty day at work and throwing in the towel. The best version of you is not doing that. But also things like, for example, if you're a parent, your why might be your kids, so that you stay fit and healthy to be able to play with them, to lift them above the head, to be fit and healthy enough to last until you have like grandkids, great grandkids. Like that might be your why that sets your heart on fire. For me, it's leading from the front. So me being a coach, one of my core values, which I go into on Smarter Goals, is my career. I fucking love doing this. So in terms of my why that keeps me going is leading from the front for my clients. How can I expect my guys to do anything that I tell them to do if I am not doing that for myself? So I make sure I train, I make sure I do my cardio, I make sure that I stick to my nutrition, whether I'm bulking or whether I'm cutting, and I am leading from the front. And because of that, that's the reason why I've got the physique that I've got, or will have the physique that I've got when I diet down. But yeah, it's just having that why that drives you on the tough days, on the good days, that just keeps you focused on those really fucking hard sets that you don't want to do. Next thing that I want to talk about is lack of support, because let's be honest, if you're on a fitness journey, it is so much harder to stick to it if you feel alone. And I know that because I've been there. I've been there where like I've been on a fitness journey trying to like be the best version of myself, and like my partner at the time wasn't, and was like the complete opposite of me. Not interested, again, completely fine, each their own. Wasn't interested. My friends at the time wasn't interested. I'd go into work, they weren't interested in it. I did feel quite lonely. So I say this to everyone, is find a community, find that support, whether that's making friends at the gym, whether that's making friends in classes and joining a little community, whether that's joining an online coaching program that has a big element of community as part of the coaching. Little bit of a plug here, but it's not, but just as an example, is with my coaching, we have a group chat and people are super active in there. So they were asking today about like one of the guys, not the Fitbit, but he had like a Garmin watch and it's just died, and like, right, okay, what does everyone else use because either I can get another Garmin again, or I can get a Fitbit, an Apple Watch, or this, that, and the other. And all the girls have put like all the suggestions in the group chat, and they're all banter about it. People put like TikTok reels on funny memes into the group and stuff like that. It's honestly really, really lovely. People put selfies of themselves with like gym outfits on, and people are like, oh my god, you look fucking insane. It's a really, really nice space. And we also meet up once a month as well for like team meetups, and we did kitty yoga last month. We're going on a hike this month. Obviously we have team photo shoots as well. We've got a boot camp in a few months' time. We do all these team events together to foster that community, to build these relationships. So even though, yes, I'm a cheerleader, I'm a coach, that's what I'm here for. But having like a group of 20 people around you all fucking clapping for you is just something else. So finding a community like that, honestly, it is brilliant. Whether that's an online coaching community, like I said, a class, gym community, finding a community like that'll help you thrive is a game changer, really. It's a proper hack. So yeah, and even if you're like having problems, you'll have a group of people there where you can word vomit to them, and they'll understand too. And of course having a coach that will understand that as well. Next thing is emotional eating, which I feel like everyone would have struggled with at some time. And it is a common thing, because many people do turn to food for comfort during stress, just emotional distress, due to shit day at work, due to boredom eating is an emotion, heartbreak, even happiness. Like, I'm really happy because I've got this promotion at work. Order a Domino's. I don't know why I switched from Papa John's to Domino's. I wonder why. But yeah, it is very common for people to numb their emotions and try and distract themselves from the emotion that they're feeling with food. And it is really normal. It's understandable why as well, because these foods, when we are eating them, we will release serotonin and we'll just temporarily feel better. But again, this is temporary. Once you have stopped eating that food, that little high that you get, that numbness that you was having from eating the food, from distracting yourself from that emotion, that will go. And then you'll be faced, and this is something that I say like to my guys that are struggling, it's about looking at this whole situation with logic, is that once you have distracted yourself with food and then you are no longer distracted, you are faced with a problem still. That problem hasn't gone away, it's not been resolved, but you've now also added a problem that you've not stuck to your diet as well, and you'll probably feel a certain way about that. Not saying that's right or wrong, but we're human, we will. We probably won't feel our best selves, the fact that we've not stuck to what we said we was going to do. So the thing is, and this is something that I say to my guys, is if you are again, I might do a separate podcast on this going into more detail, but if you do feel an emotion and you have the urge to numb it or distract yourself by eating, then it's about, essentially you need to train yourself to lean into that emotion. So for example, if you are stressed, it's like, cool, what exactly is the source of stress? Is there a bill that needs paid? Cool, how are you going to pay that bill? Whether or not, like, that's budgeting your money, just so you again have that budget so you know you've got the money to pay that bill. Is it a case of work's being crazy at the moment? What can you do to control that? If you, for example, have a 9-to-5 job, why worry about it when it's not in work hours? Like, is it your responsibility? Have you fucked up? If you have fucked up, do some overtime and get it fucking done and sort your shit out. If it's a case of, and I say that again because I've done that as well, where I've like fucked up on something and I've just had to stay a little bit later and get that done. Again, it's one of those, my fuck up, I sorted out. Whereas if it's a case of there's too much work in the office, that is not my problem. If obviously I was 9-to-5, that is not my problem, because it is not my company. If the company is short staffed, again, that is not my problem. I am working my hours, I work my fucking ass off in those hours, and then I'm going to go home and chill out. And again, that's more of a mindset thing that I might go into further at one time, but again, it's leaning into that emotion and solving what that is. If you are lonely, how are you going to resolve that problem? Can you phone a friend? Can you meet a friend out for coffee? What else can you do to comfort yourself in that time and not just add to your problems? Because essentially that's what you will be doing. If you're distracting yourself by numbing yourself with food or whatever else it is, you will just be adding to the problem and not solving the problem as well. So that's just, again, I might do another, I probably will do a podcast on that. I'm going into more detail, but just as a little summary, hopefully that helps. And then I also want to talk about boredom as well, but not so much boredom eating, but boredom on your diet. And again, this is person dependent, because some people can eat the exact same meal day after day after day after day, week after month, after even years, sticking to pretty much the same meal plan. But some people will like a variety, and that might be variety with every month it needs to switch, every week it needs to switch, every day it needs to switch. And obviously you'll be having different meals. Well, I hope you're having different meals throughout the day as well. Again, that's person dependent, but it's finding your sweet spots and learning about yourself and learning what you're like. Obviously, it is easier to stick to. Obviously, it's easier to stick to the exact same food for a week and then flip it over. However, if you know that you like more variety of that, yes, it'll take a little bit longer in terms of meal prep and planning. However, you've also got to think of the positives of that, as well as that you will be more adherent, you will get to your results faster. So it's thinking about like the sacrifice of that, and understanding that you're a unique individual. You might not be able to have the exact same food every single day. If you are, great, it's easier. Or it might just be a case of you just suck it up for a week and then flip it over. Again, everyone's different on that. But if you eat, for example, you have the same meal plan and you're repeating it week after week after week after week after month, this can lead to boredom in terms of food, making it very tempting and a lot easier to stray away from the plan as well. So switching it up to the amount that you like will help. And it might not even be a case where you have to flip out your whole meals every single day or every other day. It might just be a case of you might have, I don't know, top of my head, chicken, rice and broccoli, but your seasoning or your sauce on your chicken is different every single day, and that just gives you a little bit more vavavoom. Maybe it's a case of you switch up your snacks, you switch up your fruit, you switch up your breakfast, you switch up what protein powder you put in your protein oats, just to make it taste a little bit different. You switch up your I love having like 0% Greek yogurt, and I'll put like jelly crystals in it, which is just like, you know, the sugar-free jelly powder, like the powder in powder format, and sprinkle it on. Don't knock it until you tried it. It's fucking gorgeous. But again, I might even just switch the flavour of that to raspberry, to blackcurrant, I don't know, to orange, and it'll change the flavour of my Greek yogurt. Little things like that can just help you feel more satiated because I'm more entertained by your food, even though I will argue that food is not here, it's not Netflix, we don't have to be entertained by our food. But again, it's just finding what works for you. And the next thing is limited knowledge around nutrition as well, and not so much of we have to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat, because we all know that, but limited knowledge in terms of balancing a meal. So for example, if you have a main meal and it's mainly like just carbs, like let's say it's breakfast and you have cocoa pops and a little bit of milk, and you think that's a balanced meal, again, that lack of nutrition is, and you track it into MyFitnessPal, that lack of nutrition is going to hinder you, because it's fast release carbohydrates, which means it's going to quickly spike your blood sugar, and then quickly your blood sugar will plummet, means that you'll end up craving a lot more. Because it is a very low volume food, you're not going to be full for that long as well. Yes, it'll have milk in it, which will have a tiny amount of protein, but minuscule amount of protein, so you're pretty much just having like just carbohydrates on a meal, so it's not balanced. You also need to make sure that you've got a fat source in there. You also need to make sure you've got a protein source in there, so maybe add in some protein powder to that milk, and then again a source of micronutrients as well, so fruit and veg, and that would be a balanced meal. And that, so for example, if you take Cocoa Pops, add some protein powder into that milk, and then pour that over top of your Cocoa Pops. Then you get a banana. You can have that on the side or on top, depending on how you like it. I'd have it separate. And then also what you could do is get some dark chocolate and either drizzle it over the banana or some peanut butter and drizzle it over the banana. You're getting a fat sauce as well. So bish, bash, bosh, nice balanced meal. It'll keep you full for longer, but you're still having the thing that you want as well, which is the Cocoa Pops. It might just be because you've had the calories from the fats, the protein powder and banana, you just might have to reduce your portion sizes of that Cocoa Pops, of those Cocoa Pops themselves, but it still should keep you satiated and more full for longer, because it's a balanced meal. So it's little things like that that can massively change how you handle your diet because of how full you are and satiated you are, and obviously because you're hitting your micronutrients as well. The next thing is physical hunger. Like, a common reason why people throw in the towel on their diet is physical hunger. And you might be thinking, well, you're on a diet, of course you're going to be hungry. And yes, like, that's what I want to go over. But there are I won't say concerning, but there are a lot of people who will do everything in their power to not be hungry on a diet. And when they are hungry, they think that something's wrong. They think that something's wrong and it's not the diet for them, and they're really struggling. But unfortunately, if you are in a calorie deficit, which you need to be in order to lose body fat, you're going to be hungry. And there are ways to help you with that and to comfort you a little bit, i.e., higher food volume, having balanced meals, everything that I'm mentioning on this podcast. But you will feel hunger at some point, and there's no fighting that. Something that helps me throughout my diet is just reminding myself, again, is temporary discomfort. I am not going to be on a diet forever, and if I press the fuck it button, I will be on a diet for longer, which I don't want to do. So the more that you can adhere to your diet, the shorter that you will be dieting for. So experiencing that temporary discomfort of hunger, which isn't a bad thing, it's a good thing, because it's letting you know you are moving closer towards your goals, which is what you want, to lose body fat. Understanding that it's a good thing, that you're not going to starve to death as well, as long provided that you're being sensible, which, to be fair, like, you won't end up starving to death. People will be watching around just to make sure that you don't. But, and especially if you're working with a coach, you definitely won't. Like, you're not going to starve to death. You're okay. You are in control of your food. You know when your next meal is going to come. If you're having 3-4 meals a day, you are definitely not starving to death. You've got enough food to sound, and understanding that it is temporary. It's temporary discomfort to get you to goals, and then you'll be sound. So yeah, just that mindset shift on that and hunger can massively help some people. Like, it's normal. I don't need to worry about it. I can sit with it. I can sit with it and be okay, which 100% you can do. You can sit with it and be okay. Next thing is lifestyle changes, and what I mean by this is like life events such as moving house, getting a new job, changing routine, all those kinds of things. Big crazy period in work can disrupt your adherence as well. And the more that, and with this, the more that you can plan, be organized, be one step ahead of the game, do things earlier in the week if you can do. All of these things that you can just help yourself will help with those lifestyle changes as well. And if you are working with a coach, just let them know as well, because they might be able to do things like tweaking your plan, tweaking your diet to help you out on that as well. So that's all of, oh, I didn't realise how long I've been talking. So they're a list of the most common reasons why people will not be adherent to diet. As I said, if I've been through this list and you're like, none of them are me, reach out to me, message me on Instagram. Like, let's have a chat and let's get to the bottom of why you're not sticking to your diet and what we can do to help you move forward as well. As usual, thank you so much for listening to me ramble. If you have any suggestions for a podcast or whatsoever, please leave them in the comments below, or again, just shoot me over a message, because I'm always up for new ideas and I'm always up for helping people on things that they struggle with. And if you do feel like you need more support, I do have spaces available for one-to-one online coaching. So again, if you're interested, give me a message. I'm not a sleazy salesperson. I'll speak to you casual, make sure you're a good fit for a start, and we can get rolling on that. But yeah, thank you as usual for listening to me. Any questions, then let me know in the comments or message me, and have the most amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.